Hi everyone, Rob from Off the Arrow Shelf here. I'm joined today by a colleague and fellow club member.
Hi, I'm Matt. Shoot the same club.
Yep. And what we're doing today is we're going to be talking through one of the National Field Archery Society's shooting styles. Now, NFAS has got 13 different shooting styles, and it can get very confusing for new members, returning people, to understand all the different rules and classifications. This is a new idea for us, and not sure whether this video will work or not. Let me know if you like it or not. Drop some comments in the comments opportunities boxes below. We're going to be focusing today on the barebow class, and this probably is one of the more confusing classes, simply because the phrase barebow is used in lots and lots of different societies. So what we're focusing on is on how barebow works in NFAS and how that works with other shooting styles. Matt's here because he shoots barebow and he's got some questions about it.
So as I mentioned in a video before, when I first came back to archery, the thing that I struggled with was understanding the different bow classes. I went for barebow because it was something that I understood from my experience prior to coming back. However, quite a lot had changed in the barebow class. This is my bow that I went out and purchased, which I shoot regularly. But it would be really interesting to go through why we have some of the rules that we have, how to apply them, and the different types of bows that you can use in the style.
Yeah, it's quite weird because barebow has gone through a few changes. Essentially, it is a barebow, i.e. a bow without any sights. And that's what the concept behind it is. I have a question for you though, and I asked him this off camera, so it's a bit unfair for me to ask him now. What we'll do is go through how we've done things in the past, where we go through like the peripherals, like the arrows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And discuss the bow a little bit later.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the types of arrows that you can use. And I said to you, what restrictions are there on the type of arrows?
I thought that it was that you can't use wooden arrows, but I'm not 100% on that.
Okay. There's no restriction in barebow.
None at all.
You can use any types of arrow, carbon, wooden, aluminium. Most people will use carbon.
Yeah, I use carbon.
Yeah. But there isn't a restriction. Unlike hunting tackle and unlike American flatbow, where you've got to use wooden arrows with feather fletchings, and in traditional bow hunter, you've got to use non-natural materials, but with feather fletchings. So the shaft's got to be aluminium, carbon fiber. But in barebow, there isn't really a restriction. But most people will shoot an arrow that is carbon or aluminium. Normally carbon, simply because they're relatively inexpensive and they're fairly durable. We start people off in barebow shooting aluminium arrow, like a jazz, an Eastern jazz, which are bomb-proof, really, really good. And reason we start people off in barebow, it's really simple, very straightforward. Aluminium arrows, easy to find with an detector. And also, normally when we're starting somebody off, we teach them to have 3 fingers underneath the knocking point. Though there is no restriction. You can shoot Mediterranean where you have split finger, or you can have 3 fingers under. You can't face walk, you can't string walk, which is different to other societies. But you can, we start them off with 3 fingers under simply because it's easy and it means that the person can see down and sight down the top of the arrow.
Yeah.
So there's no restriction on arrow types, and it's down to you basically, as long as it functions well from your bow.
Okay.
Right. And there are huge numbers of arrows out there, and just it's taking the time to actually get your head around it and find something that works for you.
Yep.
As far as bow's concerned, can't be a crossbow, can't be a compound. Most people use a takedown recurve. Now, yours is an ILF setup, International Limb Fit setup. You look at mine. This is my TDR. This is my Black Book TDR. You know, it's a bolt through.
Yeah.
Both of them are completely fine to use. Some people will turn around and say, "Oh, well, you've got to use an aluminium one." You don't. You can use a composite. You can use wood. It's entirely up to you. The similarities, you know, we've both got, you know, upper lower limbs, central riser. We've got different types of rest. You've got a wraparound rest, haven't you, on yours?
Yeah.
I've just got a stick-on rest. We've both got plunger buttons. They're both allowed. You've got you haven't got a stabilizer, and you are allowed a single stabilizer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that stabilizer has to go forward. It can't be a like a V stabilizer or coming off to one side. It's got to be a single stabilizer going forward.
Yep.
You've got some weights added onto the bow. If you've got weights on a stabilizer, they've got to be at the end.
Right.
Trying to think of the other things that I need to think about. There's standard rules which are across all systems, which is to do with the string being and the servings being a continuous color. I said earlier you've got a single knocking point, and you've going to be either split finger or 3 fingers under. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's no face walking, there's no string walking allowed on that. So you couldn't. I'll just move into the other camera.
Yeah.
Might be able to see a bit better. You can't have a situation where you are you're drawing up and you're hitting the same anchor point. So
Right.
you can't be changing your anchor point in barebow.
Right.
As I said, it can be a wooden riser, it can be an aluminium one.
I do have a question for you.
Oh dear.
And I know the answer because I asked you when I bought the bow, but just for
Do you expect me to remember that?
for the cameras. So it specifically says in the rules that you can't have any markings on the limbs.
Something that has come in with barebows, if I remember correctly, if the bow's unstrung, it's got to pass through I think it's a 13 centimeter or 13 or 15. There were big discussions about it. Centimeter hole. Yeah.
I think that's why they make these with the weights the way they are, is that it's specific to pass through one of those rings.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it where barebow's concerned.
Just got one quick question for you. See, I've got these weights here. There isn't any restriction on where I can mount these weights because there's holes elsewhere in the bow that I can move the weights to. There's no rules or anything around where I can mount the weights to.
If you've got it on a stabilizer, the weight's got to be at the end of the stabilizer.
At the front.
Yes. Yeah. I can't remember anything on weights in the bow. Most people will have the weight usually at the bottom. Yes. But I don't remember reading anything about that or reading anything about it.
It's good to know. Good to know.
But yeah, it's a really common class. It's a class that lots of people will usually start off with, and it's mainly because we've got a load of core takedowns bows that are everything from 48-inch up to 70-inch. They're relatively inexpensive. They're relatively easy to maintain. We've got the wooden versions. You can get aluminium ones. The limbs they're basic, but they're usable. They're really good for people to get started. And barebow is one that is really easy for somebody to get into, because at the end of the day, most clubs will teach you a barebow setup. I remember I started when I first started. Mine was just it was unusual because I was shooting a 32-pound to begin with, straight off. Barebow setup, and then I went out and I learned how to make wooden arrows because I love making wooden arrows. So I swapped to shooting hunting tackle, and then I tried flat bow, and that was it. And I went out and bought a flat bow.
Yeah.
But barebow is a really good beginner's class to start with.
I think for me as well, this wasn't my first bow. Obviously, I had the core bow prior to this, and for me, it had a small plastic arrow rest on it and nothing else, and it was very easy for me because obviously the technology had moved on so much in 20 years. The last time I shot, that it would have been quite intimidating to have worried about buttons and rests and all of these different bits and pieces. So for me, it was the simplest form to buy before I kind of did the extra learning. Now I've got that knowledge, I've kind of moved up a step.
And the thing you can start doing is you can start trying different rests, different plunger buttons, different plunger button settings, how hard the button is, how springy it is, all of these elements, and you tune that in depending on what bow you've got, what arrows you've got as well. So this is I use the phrase barebow. I very seldom shoot it in barebow, but the setup for it, there's only one thing I change if I'm shooting it hunting tackle, and it's the button plunger.
Oh, okay.
I've got a different plunger with slightly different settings. I just unscrew it and put the other one in.
That's okay. Yeah.
So it's for me, that's a great bow because I can jump from barebow into hunting tackle by just leaving one thing. Anyway, that's a quick breakdown on barebow. I think I've got everything right. I hope I've got everything right. But we'll see. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Let us know what you think, and enjoy your archery.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to get in touch, you can find me on offthearrowshelf.com or on Instagram, offthearrowshelf again. You can even email me on offthearrowshelf@yahoo.co.uk. But most of all, remember to stay safe and enjoy your archery.